All right, we're back. So let's talk about how we're going to deliver this amazing
EPI baseball. What is it? Why
EPI
is it?
baseball.
Let's look at how is it. Let's unpack what EPI baseball is all about. And we knew it started with a dream. It started with an experience. Most importantly, all of this started because of the greatest thing that never happened. Something was taken from you.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It looked like it was taken from you.
Yeah.
I showed up in my sport and doing on my path of on my journey of whatever my dream was, and I thought it was taken from me. You showed up in a place, you saw a path, it was taken from you. We all entered into this journey as thinking something was taken from us, and we've now realized that it was the greatest thing that never happened, and it delivered us the greatest gift we could have ever asked for. It allowed us to stop being distracted by the finite game, and it got us more interested and involved and evolved into the infinite game. So now we're not looking at that immediate result that we once saw as the way out or the way up or the ultimate provider. We got away from thinking it was all about us and realized that it's all about you. It's all about the child. It's all about maximizing our influence in order to leave a legacy as we move into this space and through this space, so that others can benefit even greater than we did when we were here, either teaching it, playing it, being a parent involved in it. And we've had the experience on all three levels, body, mind, and soul, and now we're experiencing it on all three levels. We can say that too because we were an athlete in whatever program it was. We're still athletic.
Yep.
We're parents.
Yep.
We're seeing what would be most important to us as a parent, what would attract us to a program as a parent, and we're all coaches. So we've seen what's being done and what can be done, and we're not focused on what somebody else is doing or not doing. We're focused on what we're going to do and the understanding that when we do it that way, there is literally zero competition, and there's no need for it because there's so many athletes out there that need guidance, and so many families that are lost, broken, and separated, and so many regrets over and over and over again on a daily basis. Struggles with children to get out of bed and get to practice, or practice when the coach isn't around. There's enough of that even if you're doing it wrong, you're going to create an impact in some way. But what you're going to find with EPI baseball is that this is the total package. We're not claiming to be experts here, but we are on a path to mastery, and we're looking to learn as much from our clients and athletes and team members and families as they learn from us. This is an agreement about an evolution along an infinite path, and we look to create relationships first and allow that to deliver the results, the ultimate result, which is an amazing experience, not focused on solely a W or an L, but allowing an athlete and a family to go through a process. Yeah, a G, right? We want to allow us as a whole to go through an experience as regret-free as possible. And that's really what we brought. These amazing people have brought together, because it was you guys that started it. It was Aaron and it was Coach Cahill that started this, and we had this idea, and it's evolving every single moment, every single day. It's evolving while we sit here on this table.
Oh, yeah.
This has never been done before. The three of us have never masterminded in this close proximity, and I've probably gotten goosebumps about 10 times. I don't know if it's the beer or what, but I want to hear from you guys what you've experienced so far, because you've been doing this physically, right? Where has this physical component and this ministry you talk about, I want to know what this looks like physically. If someone is to engage in this experience, and they're gonna look us in the eye and shake our hand and say, we're ready for this. Coach, show me what you got, I'm in. Coach Aaron, show me what you got, I'm in. What can they expect? That's what I want to hear about.
All right.
I'll go first. All right, I'll take it first. On the baseball side.
Yeah.
So, when there's a lot of folks that talk about holistic training, and I take that approach seriously, and the word means something. And what it means is, from a physical standpoint, I need to, I've said this a million times, but if you give me an athlete, I can teach him how to hit.
Or her.
Or her. But if to make a hitter an athlete is not something that I can do, right? So I need someone else to help me with that. Hitting is an athletic movement. It's an athletic event, right?
Yeah.
You have to be more athletic in the box. The folks that you watch on TV every day, the pros at the highest level, they can all move certain ways that the average person cannot unless properly trained or taught. Right?
Yeah, there's more of them making there's more athletes out there making their bat more available to the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Than ever.
Exactly. So as far as specifics, you know, there is in a holistic training environment, there's drills, there is vision training, there is exercise, strength and conditioning, which I'll let Aaron talk more about that. There's live batting practice, there's tee work, there is throwing program. We're big on arm care, you know, making sure that people are able to throw the ball harder safely. You know, it doesn't really matter how good you are if you can't ever get on the field. And so we want to make sure that kids are taught to be safe when they work out. Accountability is a big part of my program. You mentioned getting kids out of bed to do the work on their own. That is a massive component of my teaching. If I can, remember I mentioned creating leaders?
Yeah.
Well, you have to lead yourself first.
Oh yeah.
So if you can get yourself up out of bed, get to the gym or get outside, find the tee, get in the cellar, do some work in your bedroom before you start your day every day, you're gonna make it
Yeah.
to wherever your talent level maxes out, right?
Yep.
That's the way I always like to say it. I mean, I don't want anybody to think that if you come see me, you're guaranteed a college scholarship. At
No,
a
but
Division I,
We're gonna maximize genetic potential.
that's right.
Yep.
That's exactly what Aaron had said. That's a great way to put it. But what I can guarantee is a process that's proven, that works, and that will help you make you feel better about yourself on a daily basis and give you a purpose.
Yes.
And so, as far as, you know, there will be videos that are delivered where drills are demonstrated, workouts are demonstrated, those types of things. But whether you're 8 or 18 or 28, the process is simple. You come in, we spend a couple hours together trying to see what you can do. We see where we can make some corrections or maybe enhance some strengths, improve in some weak areas. We do all of that specifically through drill work, talking. There's a lot of breathing that goes into baseball. You know, this is a game of failure, so you got to be able to handle it. Right? The best hitters,
Coping skills.
yeah, the best hitters of all time get out 70% of the time. So it's a, you know, it's a game of failure, and so we do everything we can from a baseball development, softball development training platform to give you the tools to cope with failure. And it's in an amazing way, it's all done from a positive angle, right?
Mhm.
So we're coaching you in a game of failure from an encouraging standpoint. It's very easy in this game to get negative as a coach and as a player. And so I don't ever do that.
Yeah, you fail forward.
That's right, exactly. And so there's always an opportunity to learn. There's always an opportunity to get better. And what I'm here to do is give you the tools and the information necessary to take your game to the next level, whatever that level is, right? If you're 8 years old and you're trying to play in the majors little league as soon as possible, that's our focus. If you're 8 years old, we're not focused on getting to the major leagues next week. And we don't want to skip any steps.
That's the infinite
Yeah,
position.
yeah. If you're an
Right
8th
now,
grader going
What does
to
that
high
look
school-
like, seasonal versus annually?
That's a great question. So the transformation part of it happens in the off season. Now, when you get into the winter months, when you get into the a lot of the swing changes or even arm care, you know, some of the changes you may need to make in your mechanics, those types of things. We don't do a lot of that during the season just because it's too much to try to do that and focus on playing games. In-season work is more about maintenance, keeping up on your drills, making sure you're staying focused on the positives, making sure that we can navigate through some issues that may be going on at school or on your team. You know, not everybody plays for a great team. not everybody plays with poor players, or players that are not as good as them. There's a balance. So every hitter is unique in what we work on at different areas of the season. I can't express enough the importance of rest and sleep.
Yeah.
A coach once told me, it was great advice. He said, the best advice I can give you is to get more sleep before midnight. And everyone thinks that the 8 hours from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the same as 8 hours, and it's not. If you go to bed earlier and get up earlier, it is different than if you go to bed later and get up later, even though it's the same amount of time you're resting. So
Wow.
it's, we talk about all that kind of stuff. The player will dictate a lot of what we need to work on. This isn't a cookie cutter situation where everybody gets the same program. I have not heard specifically what the program looks like on the S&C side, but I can guarantee you that it's not a cookie cutter approach where everybody does the same thing, no matter how old you are, what you look like, athletically, the body type, In hitting, we talk about loose movers versus a stiff mover, that would be a Mookie Betts versus a JD Martinez. Those are two different body types, two different movers, both great hitters, both do things differently. So we train accordingly on the hitting side for baseball. And everything is very specific to the player. Some players can absorb a lot of information quickly. Others, they need it segmented out, one step at a time. Some kids want to do more during the season to kind of stay strong. I'm a big proponent of working out while you're playing. I believe that same day
100%.
lifts and stuff like that. I like all of that, which is that's unconventional, I would say, today. Most kids are like, well, I'm playing a game, I can't do this. I disagree. I think you should do that on game days. But every player is different, so I guess the best way to answer the question, to put it all into a nutshell, is once we meet, once the family tells me what they're looking for, what your goals are, that's going to dictate the kind of program that we put together for each individual. And we will be training. I do like small group training, semi-private. One-on-one is available. There's a lot of technology being used to where videos are used, video analysis is used for correction and also for delivering information. The kids love that because they all have their own phones and their computers and stuff like that, where they can actually look up what I tell them to look up and do the drills, do the work. There's a lot of reading involved. Watching videos, I give video homework. Okay, go home and watch this, this, and this, and then duplicate it.
Right, that's the evolution
Yep.
piece of what you do. You do
Yep.
a performance piece, and then you always got somebody there that's in the influential stage that's coming up behind you.
That's right.
That's going to be able to share. So when you talk about cookie cutter, and you talk about delivering a program that best fits the athlete, there are still components that, as we've used cookie cutter in a negative sense here, or in a sense of we want to let people know that this isn't something where it's generic in terms of everyone's getting the same program no matter what, but there's key concepts, there's key foundational concepts that we will explain and will share that then are applied to the individual so that when they're performed, they look different. That's where we're saying it's not cookie cutter.
Right.
We understand that every athlete's going to move, or what the way the athlete looks like, it will be different because they are unique.
Yeah.
But there's foundational movements that are taught, that are repeated, that are necessary, that are the same.
That's right.
But it's not portrayed upon as this cookie cutter program that no matter who you are, everyone has to look this certain way. That's what I mean.
That's exactly what I
So
mean.
what we do is, you will be doing a similar movement, and it may be called the same thing, and you may be 18 versus a 10-year-old, but the focus is different. The concept and the foundation behind it are exactly the same.
That's right.
Because there's components to the way the body, we all have the same bones, we all have the same muscles. They may not be evolved or designed the same way. We're at the same stage, so we know that the focus is a little bit different. We're building one on top of the other. So that's when you add in the mechanics of athletic movement and development, and then you add in the swing mechanics. We want to make sure that everybody it's created like a pyramid, where you've got this strong foundation and then it's all the way up, where a lot of times you may see athletes show up upside down pyramid, where they're looking like everything they're going to do, they're going to topple over.
Right.
And we're going to make sure that you're rooted and you can do whatever it is that you're called upon to do, and your body's ready to do that. So when then it turns into a swing or a throw or receiving or defensively, being a defensive player, no matter what it is, you're maximizing your athleticism that you've been given, that two you've been earned. And I heard something on the radio this morning, and he said that a guy goes, I would fear the man that has, which one do you fear most?
I know.
The man that knows 10,000 kicks, right? You heard that on the
Or
radio?
the one who practiced one kick
10,000 times.
That's right.
So that's really what we do here. Is you may see 6 key movements repeated over 6 years
Yeah.
before they really get it. And look, we understand that 10,000 rep is going to be important. That 10,000 rep theory is going to be important because we're all on the path of mastery, and that's what we know is needed to master something. So it's mastering the mundane oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
And as the athlete changes every single day, that movement pattern may be something they did with that body yesterday, but the body they're doing it with is different. And that's what we want to allow you to understand, how important it is to really grasp the understanding that movement pattern is the same, but you are not, and nor do we want you to be. Every day we're going to ask that athlete the same question, because we know every day they're different, and so am I. And I want to see that evolve.
Right.
And so we need to have some type of certainty within this uncertain environment and have it appear less chaotic, so that the more space shows up, so that our athletes appear to be better. All they're doing is we've showed them how to have more space and how to silence the noise, because they're so certain that these body motions they've practiced so many times that when they go on the field, the smile on their face is unlike any other. When the bases are loaded and you've got the ball in your hand and you know the count's full, and they're literally, you've got to remember, you're one pitch away from winning or losing, and you got a smile on that pitcher's face. The parents are like, "Are you kidding me? I can't even deal with this." Yeah. Well, we've prepared that athlete, and they've done this 10,000 times. And regardless, if that smile isn't there, I'm going to be concerned.
Right.
Not if I see them shaking or so serious and bearing down. No, it's the free flow.
Mm-hmm.
If a smile is on their face, we've done our job.
Yes, 100%. That's a good explanation too, and as far as the cookie cutter thing and elaborating on.
Yeah,
There are of
understand
course there are certain, every professional athlete or hitter at the highest level, whether it's softball or baseball, has commonalities in their swing.
Yeah, the path is here.
Yeah.
What you're doing here can be unique.
Right, exactly. So we have, drill packages and stuff like that where everybody's going to be doing certain drills.
Yeah, some people need to work on certain areas or movements more than somebody else because their available pattern is either limited,
Right.
and so they're going to do this. Like an FMS screening would allow somebody to know, all right, you lack hip mobility, you're going to have this.
Right.
There's what you're saying is there's a menu.
Right.
When it gets down to the unique level of the athlete, or when it gets up the pyramid, there's going to be some uniqueness to it.
Sure.
It's not going to be this. It's not going to be this box.
Right.
Got it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
One of the things I'm really excited about is teaching these youth athletes what it means to be a pro. It all starts in the mind, and it all starts in your belief. I think a lot of athletes think that it actually comes down to what they do on the field, and it has very little to do with that. That's actually a result. If you ever heard an athlete that has played at a professional level, they say that the game actually is not really the key point of it. The professional athlete is the guy or girl that's able to perform repeatedly unconsciously, right? Where you're creating new habits and you're creating these standards for yourself. See, when you get to the pros, everybody's a professional, right? So what's going to make you different? Well, it's going to be who you are and who you believe you are. And so we can teach that principle by building confidence and understanding and allowing them permission to actually believe in themselves. So one of the things that I've learned in being a professional athlete is that the game of comparison should only be versus you versus the person you were yesterday.
That's right.
And teaching them the value of that. And so that's what I always like to start with when I'm talking to a youngster is, where do you see yourself right now? some of the questions that we ask in our evaluation process is, if you could do anything in this sport, what would it be? Why would it be? Right? What are some of the top values that you have when it comes to winning or love of the game, or just being out there with your friends? Those type of things will help us to understand where you feel you lie amongst the mix. And when you get on the field, you know your role as a player. Now it's time to have some fun. And so when it comes to movement and helping the athlete, I believe that it starts with belief, and then helping them to understand where they can improve and better their mobility and flexibility and strength, and now being able to translate that, because now the uniqueness is within the individual themselves. What we're doing is we're finding the direction you would like to follow, and then helping you follow with the ease of development and understanding. And so once you have a kid actually evolve, now you start to see them having more fun. And when a kid's having fun, or when anybody's having fun, what happens, right? We end up really showing up. We start just doing things that we never did. Yeah. So we start to get excited, we start to have happiness, we start to have joy. And what happens is what we become, right? We become that person. And so one of the things that you're going to get from me is you're going to get perspective. I've been there. I've played at a high level. I've played where people are paid. I've played where competition was 10 years younger than me. However, what made me who I was the fact that none of that other stuff mattered. All that mattered is what I was willing to put work in for, and why I was doing it, and what I believed in myself. And that's what stood out when the coach said, here's your number. So that's what I want to teach with these youth, is that it has very little to do with you do on the field. It has to start within. And then what we do on the field is going to reflect how well your in is doing. And if I see you out there and you have very little fun doing what you're doing, there's a big factor that you feel like you have to do it. And if you have to do anything in life, you won't full up. You will not. There will always be a lack of, because you feel a fear. Whereas if you feel that you get to, and that there's a celebration going on, where you actually are getting a chance to build and develop your skills so that you can be better than you were yesterday, now you're going to see a lot more fun happening. And so when we create our stations, everything's progressive. Like Keith said, everything is based on standards, on what we feel that is required for that individual to get the best out of themselves. And we want to push you, but we want also you to be pulled in a direction. Because pushing you and pulling you are two different things. When you're pulled in a direction, you are willing to go, right? That's the difference of give and get. And so when you're out there giving your body the best ability to be able to perform, now you're going to perform better. And so we want you to be pulled in a direction. We want to give you perspective in what it looks like to be a pro. But like Coach said, if you're looking at rookie level and looking to go to minors, or minors going to majors within the Little League ranks, or going to next levels up, each level is a state of maturity of the individual. It has very little to do with the skill set on the field. That all happens as a result. If you ever hear an athlete say, the reason why the professionals are professionals is that they practice something so that they don't get it wrong. Not until they get it right. Their getting right happens because of the result. And so it's just a different perspective. And I think with the experiences that I had and the adversity that I've fought through and built upon are the things now that I can give to youth to be able to help them to grow that neurological connection in their mind earlier, so that when they get to that maturity state, or when they're online and they're looking at like, wow, I can follow a Mookie Betts and see what he does, while he's at the ballpark or while he's at home. Like that type of influence can now have better translation. And so that's my goal, is to help them to be able to understand where they fit within the information that they're receiving. And then it all comes together with their physical.
Before we go on to another segment, I just want to add something in there, because you talked about it a little bit, and I'm pointing to the phone because these kids, when it comes to comparing themselves to the athlete they were yesterday to today, that is such a big part of what I teach, because the comparison game is a loser. Mm-hmm. There will always be somebody who's bigger, stronger, faster, better looking, whatever, has more money, has a bigger house. There's always going to be that person. And today we live in an age where it's all in their face every day through social media. You just mentioned following Mookie Betts. Well, a lot of kids are going to follow Mookie Betts and realize that they're not even close. And they're going to quit. They're like, I can't compare. This is ridiculous. Right. My goal is to help them understand that everybody has their talents. Everybody is unique. Everybody has their special gifts. And we're going to try to draw those out. Will you ever be Mookie Betts? No.
You don't want to be.
That's right. Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts. right?
He's already taken it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to make you the best version of you, right? And that's what we're going to focus on. In a context of, let's try to build some confidence. Now, I've seen mostly in young kids a false confidence that says, you know, they walk around with the arrogance like, you know, I'm the best out here or whatever. That's just a front for someone
That's
who's
their
very
ego's.
insecure.
That's their ego's version. That's that version of their ego showing up on the outside.
Yeah, that's really a person who's insecure. That's the kid who's always putting down the other kids on the other team. You know, he sucks, he doesn't do whatever. We talk about that a lot.
And it's not the child; it's a behavior they've seen modeled.
Of course.
It's not the child. It's never the child. It's never the actual who the person is.
That's right. No, you're right.
It's what they've seen. It's what they've seen modeled.
Yep.
It's a poor choice.
Yep. And so they have to understand that. And then when it comes to baseball, one thing that I've learned, and I've seen both, I've coached both types of athletes. There's the athlete who needs something good to happen in order to build confidence. They have to see it happen, they have to have success, and then they get more confident. And then there's the athlete who's confident, and that brings out the success. In other words, they walk in confident. Like, I'm going to the plate, I'm getting a hit. It's like, dude, you're 0 for your last 50. He's like, doesn't matter, I'm hitting this one. You know, it's the basketball shooter who's missed his last 10 threes, like this next one's
Give me
going,
the ball, coach.
right? Versus, if I see a couple go in, and now it's on. Like, I'm just gonna keep shooting. Or I get a couple knocks early in the game, you know, you're pretty much not gonna get me out the rest of the game, right? And that can last for a week, it can last for a month. Some guys have great seasons based on early success. And of course, vice versa. Strike out the first time up, my son was like this in Little League. Strike out the first time up, probably wasn't gonna get a hit the whole game. Gets a hit the first time up, he's probably gonna get 2 or 3 more. So all of that is a component to what we're teaching here, and that is confidence building. You know, and I have a mental toughness training book that I read from that same guy who taught me about Ted Williams' swing. He's a kinesiologist first,
Right.
so he taught me a little bit about how the body moves and all that stuff. But then also the mental side of it, he said, was such a big part of what Ted Williams did that most people don't know about. And so I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah,
You said it. You said it, and that like, oh yeah, that's a big deal. Like, do not compare yourself to other players around you. Or like, he got this scholarship, or he's playing this on this varsity team, and I think I'm better than him, or he's in my, like, that's a losing game, always. There's always going to be somebody that's better than you, and you just have to keep being better yourself. And, you know, everything, like John Wooden always said, the outcome will always kind of work out the way it's supposed to, based on the effort that you put in.
Yep.
That's pretty much how it works. I mean, if the other person in front of you, or the team that's in front of you, if they're better than us, and we play our best game, and they play their best game, then we lose. That's okay, as long as we play our best game, right?
Yeah.
Don't go out there and be defeated ahead of time saying, you know, oh, they're going to beat us. Because what? Hey, maybe they don't play their best game, and we do, right? But if you play your less than optimal level, if you go out there and you don't play up to your potential, you don't do everything that we worked on, you don't pay attention to detail, then the outcome is going to be something other than it should have been.
Right.
Most of the time.
Well, you're always looking for feedback.
Yeah.
And so if we're not out there, if you're coming in and you want to run, for example, if you want to run faster, if you want to work on your speed, and you're coming out of a drill and you're jogging, well, you're not here to jog faster. I want to see what version of speed you have right now at its maximum, and then let's find out how to make that even faster. So if you're not performing at your best, or you're not topping out, well then we're not going to get great feedback. We're here to get feedback and adjust, and that's really what we're doing. So what Coach is talking about, and we spoke about in the past, what we do with all the athletes is while we understand and when we understand their drivers, we'll understand how not to have them depend on, if I'm somebody and we know this in the consultation process with our athletes, if I'm somebody that's systemically driven, I'm the person that's getting all the reps in, I'm the person that's watching all the videos, I'm the person that's focusing on an X and an O. I know that if the X and the O exists and I focus there first, then I'm open to whatever happens. And I know that if there is something that I can get back, I'm going to apply it this way. So we take a systemically driven athlete, and we say a lot of athletes are systemically driven, and they're somebody that wants to know, I want to know exactly what it is I need to do as early as I can so that I can create the most certainty around it. And when I do that, I know that the other things will happen. And so if I know I have an athlete that's systemically driven because of what the Q&A we've had, and I know that's their driver, that's their primary driver, and a lot of times they'll show up as someone who also is intrinsically driven. Now the two of them we see flip the most. They're also the kids that are in school and math and science are like that.
Mhm.
They don't even, doesn't even look like they try.
Right.
Because there's a very black and white aspect of math and science.
Sure.
It's, but you put it in this way, it comes out that way every single time.
Okay.
So I know if I put this work in, it's going to come out that way every time.
Yep.
So they love that certainty. So we see intrinsically driven athletes and systemically driven athletes, that those two flip back and forth. So if I've got an athlete like that and I know that I'm setting them up for success, the conversation I'm having with them is different than somebody that's all about extrinsically driven things, externally driven things. So I'm going to have a conversation with that person, and we're going to have these athletes that show up, and we identify them. We say, hey, how you feeling? How you feeling? And that is going to open a door for me to get at the 3 cues I want to give them, up to 3. They may even not need 3.
Mhm.
And if they've created the rituals, and I'm going to give them a cue about something systemic, hands back, or step and hip, something that's going to cue them on.
Mhm.
We can't give them more than 3. They only know up to 3. That's motor learning.
Yeah.
So we know that I've opened the door with how you feel. That's an intrinsic question. And then I can start to give them some cues to the systemic side. And then from there, I can then say, this is the result we're looking for. I can then tell you what the play is. I can say, we need you to hit a ball high and right. We need something deep. It doesn't matter if it's a line drive, on the ground, it just needs to get at least this far so we can move some runners around, so we can open up for the next 2 things to happen.
Mhm.
Now I know my role, you know how I feel, I'm honored, you valued me, I know I've gotten a systemic command, and now I can be driven by something extrinsic.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing in that situation is that the ball gets out to right field as
Sure.
far as you can get it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a home run,
Mhm.
you decide. I just need that ball out in right field. But if I
I
went out
there
there
to score.
and I said, listen,
Right.
if I got a systemic player or a systemically driven player or an intrinsically driven player, and I have a conversation with them, I said, you got to get this ball out to right field. We need this now. We need to muscle up. You need to get this done. And they're going to go,
Mhm.
oh my God, that's way too much. I can't handle that.
Right.
You take an Aaron or you take a me, and you tell me, you better hit this crap out of this ball. We need this deep. We need this deep to right. We need to get this done because we're ready to celebrate. We're about to win this game.
Yeah.
And we're getting goosebumps. We're like, hell yeah, bring it. Everything I got, it's going to right field. But if you got us up to the plate and you said, hey, how you feeling? How am I feeling? It doesn't matter how I feel. I could be sick right now. I'm still gonna go up there and smash this.
Right.
Or if you get in there and you say, hey man, make sure you got your step and you know you're getting your hands back. All of that, we're not even hearing you.
Yeah.
Because it's not our driver.
Right.
So we understand the athlete's drivers. It'll show up like confidence.
Mhm.
And then you'll allow that athlete the best opportunity to perform and then to do it again and to do it again and to do it again. Because if they're only focused on when the things aren't happening again and their confidence dips, it's because they messed up the order. So if you have a systemic athlete going up there and worrying about where the ball went or what type of swing resulted, they're not going to perform as well the next time. They're focused in the wrong order.
Right. Yeah,
So we're going to
external-
understand that.
External versus internal focus is what
Versus
we're talking-
systemic.
As
But
far
we-
as hitting goes, that's kind of the two different.
Yeah, and we have a way to figure that out prior to,
Right.
so we can have a conversation with you that's unique.
Yeah, it's perfect for hitting because there's baseball players where they want to know kind of how the body's moving
Yeah.
on the inside.
Put
And that's
myself
what,
in this position.
that's what gets them to where they need to be. There's others where you just say hit a line drive to right and
Yeah,
then
and they'll do it.
everything happens.
Yep,
That's
'cause they'll see it
external
first.
Think
focus.
less thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they want the pressure, and we need to know who those athletes are.
Mhm.
I need to know can I put you up there with the bases loaded and a full count? Can I put you at the plate? Can I put you in this situation? And I need to know who those gamers are. And it's no offense to someone who's not, but you have your time.
Oh yeah, and those are easily recognized. Those players.
But once we
stand out,
know
and then
why,
we can make more of them.
there we go. But once we know why, we can have players that are gamers and we can put them in at the end versus the beginning. That's why there's closers and there's starters.
Right.
And
Well,
no,
I'm gonna-
no one's more
And
important.
I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that. So I'm a football guy, right? And so in football, there's a lot of role playing. Okay, so you have your possession receivers, you have your big play guys that just run streaks and run 9 routes. There's running backs that are your power backs, your short distance backs, or jumbo packages, if you will, short yardage, pounding. Then there's your scat backs, the guys that can come out of the backfield and fly, right? You're not going to put them in between the tackles. You're going to put them on the outside in more space, similar to what the Giants should be doing. And put Saquon in space. You see what he does in the screenplay. We got to do it once. But the thing is that if we're able to understand what Keith is saying, if we're understanding what the athlete is from a genetic standpoint, and that also comes from their mentality and who they are and how they are driven. What we do is we can help wherever that kid is playing. We can help that coach have a better understanding of that individual, right? So we are actually open to coaches reaching out to us whose players are training with us to say, hey, what role would you recommend this player play at? Because whatever they played last season, they may have struggled with, and the player and the coach are thinking that it's more technical and more mechanical, when actually the player should be more in a position of this, because this is where they're naturally derived from, and helping them perform better there. And so this is the difference between pros and amateurs, is the pro coaches, they don't worry about the talent. The talent takes care of itself. What they're looking for is a system with individuals that are performing a certain role to execute a certain situation.
Allow them to show up.
Allow them to show up. So you're not going to put a safety at the quarterback position. Now, there may be coaches that may say, okay, well, this guy is multicultural. He can jump in this and jump in that. But you know what? Those players are just like switch hitters. You know what I mean? They can go on both sides of the plate, but I can guarantee you one side will be better than the other, right? Or stronger than the other. So just to elaborate real quick on that, Keith, is what we want you to understand is that we're going to help you to understand each and every athlete that comes to work with us and be able to give you a report on what we recommend is going to help them to thrive. Because if you help a child or an athlete thrive, what they're going to do is they're going to have built confidence, they're going to have better performance on the field, and they're going to enjoy the game a lot longer. Because here's the thing, if we put a kid or an athlete in a position that they're not thriving in, they're not going to love the game. If they don't love the game, or if they don't enjoy what they're doing, eventually their performance or even interest is going to decline. And that's the last thing that we want in our program. We want a kid to thrive here. We want them to understand themselves, believe in themselves, and leave here with a better understanding of how well they can perform in a certain situation.
I think that'd be valuable for parents too.
Yep.
Yeah, the
because parents they're screaming from the sidelines, telling their kids to do this, and this, and maybe they don't realize that that's not the best thing
That's
for
not
them.
the driver.
And,
Yeah, so we ask the parent the
very-
same question.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we allow the parents to understand, we allow them to understand what their role is. Identity and belief is huge. Right?
Huge.
Identity and belief.
So
if we know what your role is, and we know what you identify with, and then we know what you believe, we know how we need to adjust that, what gaps exist between where you are and where we want you to be, where we know you can be. And an example we can use for that is the one that I was sharing with you before. If you yell out to an athlete that's under the age of 13, and you yell out something that is, or even a coach is focused on their effort, you need to work harder. All they hear, because they don't have the cognitive ability to translate, is that they're not good enough. Not that they're not putting in an effort, because that's all we're talking about. I drove all this way, I've done it. I drove all this way, I'm making sacrifices.